Welcome back to Simplifying the State, the podcast where we break down politics so you don't have to try to figure out why the president posted an AI video of himself wearing a crown and dumping raw sewage on protesters from a fighter jet.
Another one.
I'm just going to let that sink in for a sec. All right, cool. As always, I'm Adam Watson.
I'm Drew Garfinkel.
All right, now before we start, if you would be so kind as to rate us and follow the podcast wherever you are listening, as well as share it with anyone you think would enjoy it, such as friends, family, or a random person you see at the park. Okay, so today's topic is basically going to be the escalation that we've been seeing in the Caribbean, and now it seems like one incident in the Pacific in regards to the attacking of various drug boats. At least they've been called drug boats by the government. There's no concrete evidence that the people on those boats have been smuggling drugs, but that's what the government's been saying.
We're talking about the Venezuelan drug boats coming into America. Well, alleged drug boats.
Yeah,
right.
Alleged drug boats coming in, which the Trump administration is mostly blaming on Venezuelan drug gangs and all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah, and
so Drew,
Venezuelan government.
Huh? Yeah, Venezuelan government as well. I think less maybe for the drug smuggling, but also maybe for the inaction to stop them. I think I saw that Trump was blaming
Trump
Maduro specifically.
The government.
Yeah. What do you think about the government's response so far in terms of what's been going on?
So, I don't want to say like they did good or they did bad because like I don't know if they were like actual drug dealers. Like we killed them before we could figure out. But from a logical standpoint, if I was in charge, I would arrest them and try to figure out, what's going on with this. Like if they're actually from Venezuela, like arrest them and have them, and like I guess it was like in international waters, so they aren't due to like the rights given by America, but still it's like an ethical thing.
Right. They also, they aren't technically on American soil, so you're right, the Constitution would not technically apply here. I know the Trump administration has also labeled these drug cartels as terrorist organizations, so they're sort of using the leftover powers from the war on terror, which give the executive branch and the military some sort of broad but short, in terms of time, like things they can do. In terms of
like as response to the drug dealers. Is that
yeah,
what
so
you're saying?
basically the Trump administration labeled these drug cartels as terrorist organizations.
Terrorist. Yeah, I saw that.
And so after 9/11, Congress gave the president pretty broad powers in terms of the military to use against these terrorist organizations. So that's one reason that the president has probably labeled them terrorist organizations, so that the government and the military has more, broad powers when it comes to dealing with them, as opposed to if they were just regular criminals.
Yeah, kind of a side tangent. Is that why there's so much like security and surveillance in America? Like, I know a lot of it was post 9/11 as a result of counterterrorism.
Yeah. So like after 9/11, big part of it is a lot of what people hear is like the NSA, National Security Agency, tapping phones and like checking browser history and all that stuff. But yeah, there's been a big uptick in surveillance. And I would attribute this both in part to 9/11, but also just because, we're living in an information age, and, what people are doing is information, and the government wants that, whether that's the Chinese government or the American government. They want to know often what their citizens are doing. But yeah, 9/11 is a big reason behind that.
Yeah.
So there have been a lot of recent developments in terms of the military when it comes to this. So recently, the defense secretary announced that the USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group, which was previously docked in Croatia, was headed to the Caribbean and would be placed under the control of Southcom. Basically, Southcom is Southern Command. So the entire world is split up into different commands when it comes to the military. There's Central Command for the Middle East. There's South Command for like the Caribbean and South America, et cetera, et cetera. So the whole world is like divided into these different command groups. but the USS Gerald R. Ford will join 3 destroyers, a guided missile cruiser, a nuclear attack submarine, 3 amphibious ships, 4,500 Marines and sailors, and a bunch of other military equipment, which is being sent or was stationed in the Caribbean. The military also reactivated an air base in Puerto Rico, which had been sort of inactive since the early 2000s.
So what you're saying is we're kind of showing off our power.
Yeah, basically big increase in military power in the Caribbean, which that paired with the fact that Trump suggested we might get involved in terms of ground attacks in Venezuela could signal that, maybe the U.S. is preparing to either launch coordinated, like, specific strikes on Venezuela or, something like that, just the sheer amount of military power that's being deployed there.
And this is all in the name of the war on drugs, right?
I mean, yeah, that's basically what's going on here. I mean, but first, what do you think of the whole military buildup in the Caribbean? Like, what do you think?
What do I think about it? I
Yeah.
think nothing good can come from this, right? Like, I feel like everything's kind of unstable as it is, and invading Venezuela or making a move for it could be potentially disadvantageous for us right now.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
And what do you think?
yeah, sort of what you said. I mean, we're in the midst of a government shutdown, and we're making some big military overtures towards Venezuela. I mean, also, if we did invade, which I don't think, at least right now with the troops they have in the Caribbean, I'm not sure they're going to invade it. But I mean, even if they did, I mean, Venezuela has some pretty dense jungle, so it would sort of be like a South American Vietnam kind of. But what do you think he could be playing at? Do you think this could be sort of a show of strength? Do you think this could be a prelude to ground attacks on Venezuela? Do you think this could be a prelude to an overthrow of the Venezuelan government? Or what do you think?
So I will be honest. Most of the time, I don't know what Trump is playing at. I'm not going to pretend I'm like a politician or anything. I know anything about what he's planning or if he has a plan at all. This seems kind of irrational to me, though. Like, why put us in another war when he campaigned on taking us out of wars? You know?
Yeah, I mean, he campaigned for being a peace candidate, and so far he has attacked Iran. He's possibly planning an attack on Venezuela. He's been conducting extrajudicial attacks and killings of people who he claims are drug smugglers, which, even if they were on U.S. territory, that's not a crime punishable by death in the United States. So even if they were drug smugglers, that's not a crime that we give the death penalty for.
Do you think it's ethical, like not morally correct? Do you think it's ethical to have these people killed if them taking, pretty sure it's mostly cocaine Venezuela's known for, into the U.S. could cause a lot of potential deaths of American citizens?
Right. I mean, I definitely think if they are drug boats, they should be intercepted. But again, I don't think we should be just going around being judge, jury, and executioner, blowing up these drug boats. I mean, it's hard to. Obviously, we shouldn't be
There's nuance. Yeah.
letting drugs come into the United States, obviously. But I think there are other ways to do that than blowing up these boats without there being any kind of trial for the people on the boats, without there being any kind of hard evidence that they are in fact drug smugglers, without anything like that. And I mean, to see a country like the United States doing that is, it's unfortunate. Like, we're supposed to be
unfortunate.
Yeah, we're supposed to have the moral high
Yeah.
ground, but we're just blowing people up without a trial.
And I was getting at this before, like at the beginning, but why wouldn't you intercept them, interrogate them, and then maybe find out if Venezuela is responsible at all, see what they know instead of just killing them straight up. There's been, I want to say 3 Venezuelan incidents recently, And there's been 10 in the past couple years.
Right.
I'll
Yeah.
have to fact check myself on that.
Yeah.
But it's like,
So
this isn't the first time this happened. I remember this happening a month or two ago, like this exact same thing,
yeah, there
except
have been
without all the military mobilization.
Yeah, there have been a couple incidents, to my knowledge, at least the ones I've seen at least four in the Caribbean, and then I saw one in the Pacific. I think it was close to 50 people have been killed so far. I know that there were two survivors from one of the boats, which they, picked out of the water and then sent back to their respective countries that they were from. But again, I agree with you. And just in terms of strategy, it would make more sense to capture them and uh, interrogate them. I mean, I'm not sure if these are in fact drug smugglers. Again, there's no hard evidence of that. If they are drug smugglers, I'm not sure that there would be people who are pretty high up the food chain on these things. I'd assume they're using like foot soldiers or something, but it seems like it would at least possibly be useful to capture them and interrogate them as opposed to
Hmm.
just blowing them up. Just doesn't make
Yeah, I
sense.
agree with that. So I fact checked myself. It was 10 like total in the past couple years. I don't know the time frame. Not from Venezuela, just like
In general.
in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So going back to what I was saying from before, just a little retcon.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also another thing which is interesting, which is the Senate. I've seen a couple of Republicans who have said, in light of what Trump has said, about possibly getting involved on the ground in Venezuela. Also, he announced that the CIA, they were given permission to conduct covert ops in Venezuela, which I'm not sure why you're announcing that if you want it to be covert. But anyway, a couple of Republicans have seemed poised to sort of uh, claw back some presidential power when it comes to declaring war without them. Obviously, the president cannot declare war without Congress. That's just something
Hmm.
we know that that's in the Constitution. But they're basically looking for a way to put more checks on the president's ability to conduct military operations in regards to Venezuela without congressional approval.
We've covered the kind of like international perspective on this. What would you say the at home view is? Like sitting in my house right now, how does this affect me? Or like just kids our age, let's say high schoolers. Because I don't know many people who are doing cocaine at our age.
Right. I mean, yeah, in terms of how the drug cartel aspect of this factors in, I mean, I think they were also transporting heroin and fentanyl and stuff like that. I don't think it's just like exclusively cocaine. And, there is a big heroin and fentanyl crisis in this country. But yeah,
Oh,
I
wait, I
think,
gotta interrupt you.
yeah,
Have you heard of, it's like, I forgot the name of it, but it's 1,000 times more potent than fentanyl. It's like super fentanyl. Have you heard of that?
I have not heard of super fentanyl. I'm not very tapped into the drug community, but
Yeah, it's crazy. Like
yeah,
how like it's like 0.2 milligrams kills you or something.
yeah, I have not heard of super fentanyl. I think I've heard of something like it. I'm not sure if that was the same thing, but yeah, I've heard of something like that, like something that's much more powerful than regular fentanyl. But anyway, but I think the thing that impacts us the most, like as high schoolers, I think it's more so just like the image and the perception of the United States conducting these extrajudicial killings of people in international waters without any kind of due process or any kind of trial or any kind of anything like that for a crime which isn't even a death penalty in the United States. And I think that really not only hurts our standing abroad, but I think it hurts our standing amongst our own citizens because, like I said, we're supposed to be this shining example that every country should aspire to be, yet we're doing things like this. And we've been doing things similar to this since the beginning of the war on terror. And, we've been doing, and this sort of connects to the war on drugs, we've been doing things that are oftentimes reprehensible. The ends may not be reprehensible, but the means by which we're attempting to get to those ends are often reprehensible. But yeah, I think it just hurts our standing, our moral standing. And it's not good to see that we are doing these things that we would most likely criticize another country for doing.
So you said, and this is my opinion too, that the ends don't always justify the means, right? And it's a viewpoint I hold that the ends don't always justify the means. Like how you do something also matters, not just the end result. So even if we complete our goal of getting rid of drugs in the US, which, by the way, won't happen, the amount of drugs being taken into the US is prodigious. A couple of drug boats won't do anything. But even if we could do that, if we could cut down on all of that, killing these people is also like it's a bad thing objectively. Even though the drug dealers, we should still, like, as we talked about, we should interrogate them with something. Even though they're, I don't know about them, bad people, that still doesn't mean we should be the bad guy. Do you agree?
Yeah, completely. I mean, I think when you do things that you would criticize other countries for doing, then I think it severely hampens your moral standing. I mean, and that's sort of obvious. When you sort of use the methods that your enemies do, I mean, even if the ends are good, the means still matter.
What you're saying is we're being a bit hypocritical, right?
Yeah,
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
basically we're
agree with
being
that.
hypocritical when it comes to this stuff.
So, and what I kind of picked up is from what we're thinking is that although in like my life, this event won't affect us, it like kind of affects how the US as a whole gets seen, right?
Yeah.
By like internationally because of these events. So like,
Yeah.
although my life won't be any different, I'm not going to lose any sleep because of this. It still affects us somehow.
Yeah, it affects our moral character, basically. It's basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective to look from, like our moral superiority on this.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad we got into that.
Sort of going back to one of your questions, though, how do you think this could affect high schoolers? Like, I talked about how it could affect our moral standing, but like, what do you think? How could it affect high schoolers?
I think it won't, if I'm being honest. Like there's so much drugs in the US. Like it's like difficult to wrap your head around. There's so much like, and then some of it's legal too. Cigarettes, alcohol, it's all legal. This won't, frankly, in my opinion, I'm not a professional, won't change anything.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening to Simplifying the State. We'll be back next week with our next topic. Make sure to rate and follow the podcast. Make sure to follow us over on Simplifying the State. We'll be posting stuff over there. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
See ya.